Review of the Byrds album Younger Than Yesterday. It was released in 1967 and produced by Gary Usher. So this would have been like the second or third Byrds album I ever got. I got it the exact same time I got Notorious Byrd Brothers. So I got the CD version with the bonus tracks first, and then I picked up this record like a year or two ago. This was kind of an early favorite of mine as far as like the original lineups albums go, and I've listened to it so much that I don't like really listen to it as much as I do some of the other Byrds albums anymore, but I still really like it. The album starts off with So You Want to Be a Rock and Roll Star by McGuinn and Hillman, and it's a strong opening track. It's got some cool bass from Hillman on it. It's got some trumpet from Hugh Masekela that's really cool. It's a strong opening track. Not like my favorite track on here, but really good opener. Second track, Have You Seen Her Face, sung by Hillman by himself. And this album kind of like marks the emergence of Hillman as a major songwriter for the band. And he comes out like really strong out of the gate with a bunch of really great songs, which I guess like shouldn't surprise me since he wrote or co-wrote like most of the songs on my favorite album of all time, which I'll get to some other time. But anyway, yeah, Hillman just starts out really strong with his songwriting here, and I've always really liked this, or really liked the song. It's got a cool guitar solo on it from McGuinn playing a 6-string instead of a 12-string this time. It's kind of a cool, like, weird little solo. Third track, CTA 102, song by McGuinn and Robert Hibbard. This track's kind of weird. The parts of it were because it's like a song and then it has kind of like weird sound effects and like alien voices and stuff going off. So it's kind of, in a way, it's almost like kind of a novelty track. But the part of it that's like the song where there's is just really catchy. So I always really liked that part of it, and even like the parts with the sound effects and stuff. I just think it sounds cool and it's fun. I've heard it criticized sounding very dated, which like it. I'm gonna go on a quick rant, but it always bothers me a little bit when people use dated as a criticism, and I get it, but at the same time it's like pretty much everything sounds dated when it comes out. Like I know some people are gonna be like, oh, well, you can pick Dark Side of the Moon and it sounds like it could have come out anytime. No, it doesn't. It couldn't have come out now. It doesn't sound anything like anything that came out now, or like. It's just, there are some things that do sound a little bit more timeless than others, but not to the degree that I feel like it's a valid point to call something dated as a criticism. I mean, if I didn't want to hear something that sounded old, I wouldn't be listening to an album from 1967. So anyway, end of rant. I don't know, that always like bugs me. It's kind of a stupid thing to bug me. But yeah, so CTA 102, kind of cool song, but also kind of like I could see why people wouldn't like it. Fourth track, Renaissance Fair, song by Crosby and McGuinn. This is a really cool song. Kind of took me a while to get into it though, because it's not like an instantly catchy song, but it's just got really cool, some really cool guitar going on, a really cool bass line from Hillman. It really like captures the weird kind of like atmosphere that they're going for really well. Just a really cool track. Fifth track, Time Between, another Hillman song that I think is really good. Kind of a shorter song, but this one has Clarence White coming in on it for the first time, which he joins the band later on full time. But you got him showing up here in the studio, and anything that has Clarence White on it just gets a boost. So his playing on it's great. Really probably my favorite thing about the song, but I do really like the song. I think it's a really catchy, short little song. The sixth track, Everybody's Been Burned Before, Crosby track. It's got a good vocal from him, cool atmosphere to it, just like really cool guitar parts from McGuinn. Really like it. So another really great track. Seventh track, Thoughts and Words. Another really strong Hillman song. This one has a really cool like backwards kind of guitar solo, which I could see people not liking if you're not into that sort of thing, but I think it sounds really cool. So that it is kind of, this one is like kind of in contention for one of my favorite tracks on the album. It's really hard for me to pick a favorite song on this album. It's got so many great ones, but this song's kind of up there. Mind Gardens, song by Crosby, and this, as far as like what I can tell, seems to be one of the most hated songs, or probably like the most hated songs the Byrds ever did that wasn't written by Skip Batten. So I see hate for this song every time it's brought up, pretty much. And I've never really thought it was that bad. It's never been my favorite thing on here, but I've always thought like the instrumental tracks, especially with the like different backwards guitars going on, like there's a lot of them, and I just think it sounds really cool. Honestly, I think the song doesn't have really like any hooks in it, and it's just kind of goes. But for me, that's kind of normal for a Crosby song. I think the weakest part about it is kind of his vocal, and I've heard like where he was like, oh, I've heard like interviews where he talks about the words to it and like, oh, it was just good words. But the words, some of them I kind of like. Some of the lyrics are kind of good, but then like some of it not so much. But his vocal, especially on this version that's on the album, is just what kind of kills it for me, because he's like doing this, like parts of it are really good because I mean he's got a great voice, but he does this kind of accent in like certain parts of it, like when he sings the like the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune line. The way he sings that has always driven me nuts. Like I've never liked that. So like really I don't mind the song that much. It's just I'm not crazy about his vocal delivery on this version that's on the album. The 9th track is My Back Pages, a Dylan cover, and a great version on here. Another one that's like up there for my favorite song on the album. Just great guitar from McGuinn. I love the solo on it. He opened with this when I saw him live, which I kind of knew he would. I remember me and my cousin were talking about it before the show, and he's like, "What do you think he's going to open with?" And I'm like, "I bet My Back Pages," which he did, and it was a great version. So yeah, just a great track. 10th track, The Girl with No Name, another Hillman song. Probably like my least favorite of the Hillman songs on here, but still really good. Another one that's like really short. He was writing these just really, really quick, catchy songs here. But this is another one that's got Clarence White on it, so just, you know, future bonus points for that. Clarence playing some really cool stuff on there, as always. Then the 11th and final track on the album, Why, by McGuinn and Crosby. And this one was already a single. I kind of talked about it on my Fifth Dimension review, because the single version is a bonus track on there. And I like the single version better than this one. I think the guitar parts on it are cooler. This one seems kind of like toned down a little bit, and as far as like that stuff goes. And I'm not really sure why they put this on the album like this. Like I think it would have been better just to put the same or the single version on there if they were going to put it on the album, because it's better. But yeah, it's not a bad way to close the album. Just like I like the other version better. So the CD has some cool bonus tracks. It's actually, I think, has some of the better bonus tracks on it. As far as these reissues go, it Happens Each Day, a Crosby song, which I like. It's kind of it's a nice song. And then it has Don't Make Waves by McGuinn and Hillman. I think they wrote it for like, I don't know, like a movie or something. And it's nice, kind of short and catchy. You get to hear Crosby kind of making fun of it at the end, which it's like you just put Mind Gardens on the album, so it's like, why are you talking? But still, I don't even mind Mind Gardens, but this is definitely like catchier than that. Then you have an alternate version of My Back Pages with kind of some weird trippy effect on McGuinn's guitar, but I've always really liked it. I think the effect's really cool. I mean, I'm glad that they didn't leave that on for the regular version, I think, but I'm glad this version exists. I've listened to it a lot. Then there's an alternate version of Mind Gardens, which I kind of like a little bit better than the one on the album because I think Crosby's vocal's better. It's a little bit like less exaggerated, kind of more reined in. And then there's Lady Friend, which is a Crosby track that was an unsuccessful single that unfortunately didn't make it on an album because I think it's a great song. It's one of my favorite Crosby songs. Just a really, really cool track. And then there's Old John Robertson, the single version, which is a good song. I'll talk about this one more on the next album because it's on there as an album track. So, yeah, the Byrds, Younger Than Yesterday. One of my favorites by the original lineup, but I mean all their albums are so great that it's kind of hard to pick a favorite. One that I've listened to a lot. I think that I don't know. This is kind of, it's like, I don't want to say like the stereotypical Byrds album, but it's like this. When I think of a Byrds album from the original lineup, I a lot of times kind of think of this one. I do think it is kind of the one where like you, as far as like these members, like you kind of get the best, or like Crosby and like Hillman and McGuinn's personalities all kind of standing out a little bit. Even though I do think this album's kind of lacking a little bit of McGuinn. Like he doesn't have as many lead vocals, I don't think, as I would like him to. Really, and his, I don't want to say he has less songwriting stuff, but maybe not quite as much as Hillman and Crosby. If you count like the Dylan cover, I mean, I guess you could count the Dylan cover as kind of a McGuinn song, but I mean, I'm kind of rambling. So yeah, really great album. Definitely check it out if you want to get into the Byrds.